Hi, this is Charlie. We are on our final signature for our album Imagine, and we're going to do another double waterfall. So there was just enough paper left to do this, and there were two sheets of the 8x8 and 3 sheets of the 12x12 that are left. So there is enough left here. I counted it out, that you can cover the back side of both the waterfalls that we did. It'll come right down to the last little trim you do. So if you want to do that, you've got enough paper. All right, so you're going to make 10 waterfall papers that are going to be 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. So this is your 3 5/8 by 5 5/8, and you're going to score at a half, and then you're going to tape them on. So what I did to make this quicker and a lot easier is I trimmed a piece that was 3 5/8 by 2.5 inches, and I put all my waterfall on it, and now all I have to do is tape this down, secure it, and it goes down a lot quicker, a lot easier. So there's 10 of them. And then we're going to have a left and right flap that will keep these closed. And both of them have the same measurements. So they're going to measure 4 5/8 across by 8 inches. So let's get back here to the base, because this is a little bit bigger base because we're covering the back panel. So this is 7 5/8 across by 8 inches. And as far as, this is what I chose because we're going to cover this up almost in its entirety. Out of what you have left here, if you want to choose a different color as your base, that's fine. No biggie. So 7 5/8 across by 8 inches, and then these are going to sit in here. So getting back to these, you are going to have two that are going to measure 4 5/8 by 8 inches. Then you're going to score at a half, and then you're going to score at 3/4. So you're going to make two of them. Now I would save, well, you're going to use 12x12s for this. Don't use any 8x8s until I tell you to. So we're going to go ahead and get some tape on these. So if you're ready, get some tape on these and get these mounted. And because these are heavy, I'm going to put these on last because it's easier to open these up. Now when you're doing this, you've got a 3/4 inch score line and you have a 1/2 inch score line. We want this hinge right here on the front of the page. So we're going to come right up to the 1/2 inch score line. And then we're going to fold the paper over. So then what happens is that hinge is now on top of our base page. All right? So let's go ahead and get this one done. So it's going to again come up to the 1/2 inch score line. And it is now boxed in, all right? So now we can open this up and we can go ahead and tape these or glue. I think if I want to eyeball, if I use glue, I want to make sure that I'm putting things down where I want them to go. Okay, let's get the glue out. I'm going to hold the bottom one in place while I come in here and set this one. Okay, now we'll do this one. And I'm going to line it up here on this edge. Watch what I'm doing down here. Adjust accordingly so it's standing straight. There we go. All right. For the inside panels, this was the 8x8 that I chose to cut and trim and put on the inside here. Now, once again, you've got only 2 left, so you can use whichever pattern size, whichever it is you want. But with this being the last signature, I kind of really wanted to have all the balloons in there. Now, when you trim your paper, you need to be mindful of this hinge right here so that you're not covering it and you're not impeding on it being able to turn over. So I want the nice, colorful balloon side. And then we're going to do the same over here. Then 1 inch by 3 and gosh, I'm right in between 3/4 and 7/8. But what I did was I came up to the 3/4 score line just in front of it, and then I'm cut and trimmed out here. So that's why I've got that funky little measurement. But we're going to make an up and bottom tuck. That way, if you don't want to put fixed pictures in, you can just tuck them in. That corner's not laying down. Okay, there we go. And then I use the polka dot trim. And then from the, I think these came out of 8x8. Maybe they came out of 12x12, but it is the cluster of roses. And I'm just going to put that right there in the center. And I'm going to glue this so I can kind of control where that glue goes and it doesn't interfere with my tuck. So it's a nice tuck, so things aren't going to go anywhere when you use it. And we're going to repeat that over here on this side. I'm going to start right in front of that 3/4 inch hinge and then come over. And then then the same sticker, the little cluster of roses. Okay, so that's done. We're going to come back to this in a second. We're going to close this, and I want you to grab this cutout, and then you're going to cut same size scrap piece of paper. I'm mounting mine on gold cardstock. You might still be using your light colored, but I'm using gold. And I'm going to put this on here so that it looks like this. But what I've done, in fact, I could just go ahead and put this on because it's not going to, I'm doing magnets, but I'm doing magnets a little bit differently. So let me get this on here. Okay, so that's done. Now here's what I'm doing with the magnets. These are going to go on each side. So what's going to happen is this is actually going to lift off, and you'll be setting it aside in order to open up the flaps. That way when, I toyed around with, let me show you why. This is the final piece to the 8x8 that had the Imagine on it. And this guy who's flying is going to be coming right across here. And then when you take this off, you still get this beautiful visual of that piece of paper. So I'm going to make sure that my hinges are standing up straight and that the papers and everything are even. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to center this and hope that it's level. Ta-da! Okay, so then it's just going to slide off. Now you're going to cut to trim, and I'm going to tape both of these down. But before I do that, I want to cover my magnets. You just stick a little bit of glue in there. Okay, so like I said, when these go back on, that will act as your closure for this signature. Set it aside, and I'm going to grab some 1/4-inch tape. Goes there. Okay, now I want to add just a bit of tape on my magnets. gotta see what I'm doing here, so I'm gonna just want a little thin lip of my cardstock showing there. And then we'll do the same over here. All right, now I want to line this up. So imagine looks like it's coming right straight across. Okay, so then, like I said, this closes. Okay, just getting this squares this piece up. I was a little worried there that I might have to use some undo and readjust things. All right, let's get in here and let's take a look at what I did. All right, so I took from my scraps a piece that is yellow striped, and I cut the top two, and then I'm looking at images we just totally have wiped out. Pretty much all the large items off both sticker sheets. So I'm looking for something that I can put on here. So I went back to my scraps and I fussy cut out and trimmed out some of the roses. I have a butterfly and then the word achieve. This came off of the 8x8 sticker sheet. No, this came off the 12x12. And then I have the other word, which is imagine. I fussy cut out some butterflies. And when you go to cut these, if that's what you want to do, you'll find that you have flat edges. Well, I'm just running them right across the bottom. I'm butting it up there. And then I'm cut a separate rose and I'm butting it up there. And then there's my butterfly. So that's my composition for here. I only cut this cluster and then there's the butterfly. So I put the bigger cluster on the bottom because then it looks like the weight, if you will. The weight is down here. And then I inked all the edges. And when I cut the antennae, I left just a little bit on each side, so they're thicker than what the image itself is, but it's a way of saving the antenna. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this piece. Use that as my break in the color so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to center this right along the bottom so that the straight edge made sense. And these pieces, like I said, were out of my scraps. And then we're going to, I backed this word, this sticker, achieve, I backed that on my gold cardstock that I've been using. And then we have the butterfly. Just a little dab on the ends there. All right, now let's do the bottom one. And I did not have very many scraps left. I used up every single large scrap that I could. So this one's going to have to go down first because it's layered over it. So that straight edge right there and this straight edge. And then this 2 rows cluster with the leaves. Oh, 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 oh. Get that wiped up real quick. And then I'm bringing this edge down here, and then the edge of the flower, the leaf, and the other rose petal across the bottom. So I layered one single rose, put it down first, and then I cut these two, and then I'm layering these two over each other. And then this was just cut as one solid piece. So now we have the word imagine. And then this butterfly. And I'm just going to center it a little differently so that there's a little bit of a change there. So that's that's the premise right there. Now, I then cut from my scraps every piece that I could and I'm just going to quickly glue these in here. And then there was a yellow, I'm using the yellow backed side. And I don't really care what direction the graphics are going because they're going to get covered up with pictures. And like this piece, the graphics are going in every different direction anyway. Okay, and then the last two. Now the double waterfalls, each one of these will hold, so there's 36 spots just in a double waterfalls for photos. And then you've got all these pieces. You have this section back here. Now I did cut from my scraps some strips of paper that are 3/8 of an inch wide by just a hair of their length, so that I can cover up the flaps on the hinge. And I will get through them as quickly as I can. It's so much easier for me if I go like this, because then I'm not holding on to little pieces of paper that have glue on them. And it does help to break up this white. This is kind of a pinkish blush white. It's called vellum white, and I got it from Cardstock Warehouse. And it has worked really well with picking up the soft hues. All right, so then we are now done. I'm gonna close this up, put that on there, and let's turn her over. Let's get our big tape. And then we can get this into the album. Come on. And then we have all the weight in the center with those waterfalls. So another good reason to put on back support. Okay, let's grab our album. And this is going to sit in here like so. And I am first going to take off this tape and these two. Now I'm going to kind of put this at an angle so I can get in here and look at this. All right, so I am going to come pretty close to the edge of the book. And then I'm going to commit that tape, and then I'll commit those. All right, I'll get this. And then I'm going to flip these over, because this is where that tape is right here in this section. Okay, we're going to close it up. And then I'm going to peel off the tape. That acted like it did. It didn't all come out of there. Oh man, I am just struggling to get this cover off this tape out of there. I don't want to have to use undo to loosen some of this because then it doesn't sit back down right for a while. I don't have a choice. I can't, I'll just try and do a little bit here on this end. Wow, that tape really did decide want to stick, so I couldn't get in there. All right, so let's try and take this one off without it tearing. I did it again. I wouldn't mind so much, but it interferes with, come out of there, with this staying taped down together. There we go. I smudged around that corner a little bit to get that. Okay. And then in here. Now I will press back on this hinge so that it stays straight and that it's not collapsing like this, flattening out, but in the outward direction, so it will stay in place. Look at that. I'm just going to turn this. Now, if you want to take the remaining papers, you will have, by my calculations, just enough to cover the backside of all the waterfall pages. There we go. Straighten that up a little bit and that'll straighten out. Okay, look at that, we're done. We got them finished. Little different character to the front of each one. There you have it. Hey, thank you so much for playing along. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. And if you don't have the collection, remember, you can get this from Scrap and Create. They have plenty. And then you can make this version of an Imagine album. So until the next tutorial series, I'll see you then.